It's an honor to be presenting a yoga teacher training with you and to offer those who are interested the best of what I've learned in being a full-time yoga instructor for the past 20 years. So I've already taught 12 200-hour teacher trainings of my own back in Detroit, Michigan, where I grew up. And I relocated to Asheville, North Carolina with my Canadian wife back in 2009 and have been teaching a part of the Asheville yoga teacher training here in Asheville. The woman who owned Asheville Yoga Center decided to have me work for her than be her competitor. So it was nice to not have to be in charge of everything and just show up and teach for like a good 13 years. Well, it's a lot of responsibility to not only create a teacher training, but to care for one and to do it well and responsibly. So I'm happy to show Ginger how to do this well and in the way that she wants, so that she can be of service to her community in the best way that she can be sustainably. So yoga teacher training is not an opportunity to just simply deepen your knowledge of yoga, although it will do that. If that's something you want, there are many other trainings out there that can allow you to deepen your knowledge of yoga so that way you can feel more comfortable when you're practicing and more informed. But a teacher training is specifically training you to teach yoga accurately and effectively and dynamically, as every person is different. Every person is a work in progress, and you're going to be learning how to meet people where they're at and to basically have healthy boundaries between you and your thoughts, you and other people, so that you can be of service to them and help provide them what they need so they can progress in the way that they want to, their own speed. And that will be the bulk of our training, is not just having you learn these sequences that are well designed and tried and true, but specifically being able to present them safely to other people to where they can feel comfortable enough to experience them on their own terms and walk away from that session feeling better than when they came, rather than worse. So if you've been in the yoga world long enough, you know that that doesn't always happen. Sometimes people get their buttons pushed and they end up injuring themselves in a yoga class when they went to go feel better. And that does happen. But as a yoga instructor with a good skill set, you can create the circumstances where you not only reduce that, but create a container where people are able to be themselves and to have a whole set of techniques in their toolbox that allows them to approach a yoga posture on their own terms, to check in with how their nervous system is, and to be able to use their breath and concentrated attention to self-regulate their nervous system so they don't hurt themselves, so they don't try to compete with other people in the room, so that they can provide their body and their mind what they need in order to improve their balance, their flexibility, their mobility, and their overall peace of mind. So yoga is a fantastic discipline. I'm delighted to share with you the essence that I've studied for over 20 years, and hopefully save you some of the mistakes that I've made, so you can make your own mistakes and learn from them. But the journey of understanding yoga is not just something that you do once a week on a mat, but rather it's a lifestyle. So when you take to heart what you're learning in a yoga class, developing mastery of attention, for example, this impacts every other aspect of your life. There's not a single aspect of your life that isn't impacted by attention. So that applies to driving a car, to relationships with other people, to executive planning, to how you deal with finances. Like, all these things are related to your current level of mastery of attention. And when you learn the skills to take whatever mastery you have and increase it, it can have a rippling effect on every other aspect of your life. So yoga is best understood as a discipline, not a belief system. Though it's often presented as such in a Western audience, people interpret yoga, and then through the telephone game, it just gets watered down. And the versions that you might get are a shell of what it actually is. But if you study yoga in its original context, it's a philosophy of discipline that does not require beliefs. You can believe whatever you want, but you don't have to believe anything to simply place your attention continuously with enough continuity to develop mastery over it. And from there, you can basically start to have a more space between yourself and your thoughts. So instead of identifying with your thoughts and being governed by them, you can create the space to choose your response to thoughts and start to govern them. And that's basically what it is in a nutshell. Like all the rest is details. The postures help you sit still so that you can develop mastery of attention. And the breathing techniques are super helpful for making mastery of attention accessible for short periods of time. But if you want the reliable mastery of attention that can linger with you throughout the day, then sitting still and practicing meditation without forcing the breath to be a certain way is the long game for developing that skill. So one of the things that is unique to our presentation of teacher training is we'll get you started as soon as you're ready of getting into the habit of sitting for at least 20 minutes a day to help not only settle your body, but develop the skill of getting your attention to be stable for 20 minutes with clarity and calmness. And even though you're going to react to certain sensations or thoughts that come up, to allow the space for that, and then to come back to being stable, clear, and calm until you develop equanimity of mind. And this cannot be done in a single yoga class. You can make progress in that direction, but 1 hour isn't enough. But 6 months is definitely enough time if you're willing to put in the effort of just 20 minutes a day to develop that skill. And you don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to compare yourself with others. You can just be you, going through your journey and develop that skill. And then it will always be with you. Then you don't need me anymore or Ginger anymore. You can do your own thing, live your life the way that you want to. But that's what we hope to at least impart upon you, is yoga is not just a once a week fitness regimen, but rather happy to listen, hopefully provide an adequate answer.
I don't know if it's only me, but I lost you for the last maybe 1 minute or so.
I see. So it seems to be an internet connection.
Ah,
We'll see what the recording picks up.
okay.
But no one else stopped for me. Did anyone else have a hard time hearing what I said for the last minute?
Just like the last 30 seconds or so.
I see.
Yeah, same here.
I see. Well, what I said, more or less, was one of the unique aspects of this training is that Ginger and I hope to offer you the opportunity to sit and practice mastery of attention for 20 minutes a day. And in a way where eventually you might see the benefit of devoting this time for yourself and continue to do that for yourself. And then you won't need us anymore. Mm-hmm. You can do your own thing and live your life the way that you want to. But that will be something that we emphasize. That was pretty much the last 30 seconds of what I said. If you have any questions for me, I'm really happy to listen carefully and hopefully offer an adequate answer.
Yeah, so after this, we'll just take a turns. If you can unmute yourself, kind of tell us who you are, where you are, why are you interested in our yoga teacher training, and then followed by your questions for Michael. You're welcome to unmute to yourself. Hey, Talbot, long time no see.
Yeah. Oh, am I going first?
You're welcome to.
Oh. All right. I'm Talbot. I'm down in Charleston. I previously was in Spartanburg for the last 2 years. Yoga You and Me became, and Healing Place came really, welcome home to me as a new person in Spartanburg. And I've been doing yoga maybe about, I don't know, like 15 years or so. Sadly, I've kind of fallen off of it this year, but I, kind of followed along and heard about this training. It's something I've always toyed around with wanting to do, and it just sounded like a good opportunity to kind of get back in touch with Yoga You and Me and check it out. And I'm just excited to hear more.
You have any questions?
Not just yet. I think I might listen along. I know I got logged in a little late, so I'll just kind of listen around. If I have any other questions, I'll chime in.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Blaine. I live in Bowling Springs, South Carolina. I've been attending Yoga You and Me for a year and a half, maybe. Before I was interested in yoga, I was meditating, and I had meditated a few years before I got into yoga. Yeah, one of my biggest questions is my 200-hour yoga training certificate. Will it allow me to like guide meditations in that side of it? Because in my mind, it's almost like you have the meditation field and then you have the yoga field. But will this allow me to branch over into the meditation? Good.
That's a great question. And I can say from experience, having taken 14 different yoga teacher trainings from different people, as well as teaching probably 300 or 400 of them up to date, that this training will be unique in its emphasis on meditation. And you'll have 4 techniques that you know very well, that are not just ones people invented in their garage last week, but have been around for multiple thousands of years and have also been well studied clinically in contemplative neuroscience research to look at their impacts physiologically on what changes in the brain, as well as normatively as what a person's subjective experience is like. So that will be a foundation of this training. And as far as teaching meditation, we could do a whole 200 hours on just that. So that would be something that, this training will provide a firm foundation for teaching, but you can spend the rest of your life developing that skill by continuing to learn more and immersing yourself in relationships with mentors and guides that can help you teach the way you want to teach. So I don't know if that answered your question in a satisfactory way, but that's the answer I have.
I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go. Hi, I'm Nancy. I live in Bowling Springs, South Carolina. I am currently actually at my home in New Orleans with my bestie friend. I'm down here for Mardi Gras. But I've been practicing yoga off and on for probably 10 to 12 years, just off and on, not anything regularly, except until the last year. And I found Yoga You and Me about a little over a year ago. and it felt like home. It was absolutely the most welcoming environment that I had ever experienced. And that alone made me want to practice on a regular basis. Just having community, family was wonderful. And through that, I have, and through Ginger and all of the teachers at Yoga You and Me, I have realized they share and give so much of themselves to us that I need to share and give of myself and pass that. So I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't know what to expect. I'm scared I'm not going to be able to learn to pronounce the words properly because I have a tendency with my Southern accent to butcher a lot of stuff. But I'm willing to give it a try. And I really don't have any questions that I can think of right this minute. It's just it's a lot to take in.
Well, thank you for sharing that background that is relatable, and I understand your concerns about pronouncing the Sanskrit language, as a lot of people tend to look at that as being very important. But more importantly would be understanding what the terms mean and communicating that clearly, even with a Southern accent, I think is more important than getting your Sanskrit pronunciation correct. That said, the Sanskrit language is a phonetic language. It was a wild language before that called Vedic. And this one guy named Panini tried to make it purely phonetic and iron out all the idiosyncrasies. So that way you could preserve information so that it wouldn't be corrupted as it was transferred to one generation to the next. It's a unique language for that. And all the yoga texts were captured in it. So I'll teach you how to pronounce it correctly.
Thank you.
I will give you plenty of free passes to make mistakes and learn from them and eventually get it as good as you want to get it.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'm Elizabeth. My first introduction to yoga was in the summer of 2000. I have a lot of trouble with self-regulation. I'm wide open or dead, and monkey mind. It's all I can say is that's why I was drawn to yoga in the first place. I wanted to become centered. I wanted to become calm. The poses were like an afterthought for me. It was more that meditative. There's got to be more than just thrashing in the net of life. So that's what I was initially drawn to it. And I practiced regularly, probably for about 5 years. And then with life changes, kind of went the boot camp route. And that's just not, I've got to have more. It's a spiritual element for me than just a physical activity. So I've been at Yoga You and Me since August of 21, I think it is. And just the wonderful supportive community of people that can see the benefits. And I'm a nurse as well. And, that desire to help people, desire to just give, because I feel like when you give, you receive more. I don't even know if that sentence made sense, but when you have love for what you do and love for other people, regardless of who they are, where they come from, it's something that makes a difference in your life. And Yoga You and Me has made a big difference in my life, lifelong community and friends. So that's something that I really have a desire to do and pass on. And, if I can have kindness and love and show that to someone that needs it, that's what the world is about. So anyway, sorry, Buffy. She wants a treat. Can't have one. So that's kind of where I'm at. The only real question I have is I currently do have to work some weekends. Do you have the actual weekend dates? I know that I've already pulled out my calendar and looked at what weekends I'm supposed to work and plotted out what I think is the right weekends we would be having class. All I'd have to do was swap with someone at the hospital. So I guess for me, I want to make sure that if I did it correctly, I think there's either 2 or 3 weekends. So really just knowing those actual dates is the only question I have.
As far as we know, the tentative dates that we have right now are what we're going to go with. And what could change, though, is that we take 2 of those weekends and make it into a weekday retreat. That's what we're discussing right now. And if you tell us which 2 weekends you have an issue with, might be those 2 that we're able to. We'll see.
I can do that.
Can't make promises, but that's where we're at this stage in our planning.
Because the only thing is, it's first come, first serve. I have 3 people that said they will switch as long as somebody else doesn't get to them first.
I see. Okay.
I have more than one backup person.
We'll prioritize getting our dates solidified this week and let you know as soon as we can.
Perfect. I mean, and that'll be plenty of lead time for me to hit all 3 of them up.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, I'll go next. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Jan Keith, and I'm on the south side of Spartanburg. Everybody else is on the north side in a place called Glen Springs. I met Ginger when she opened her first studio in Spartanburg. She had a studio previous to that, but she opened just a short walk from the gym that I own with my daughter. So we have a high intensity CrossFit gym. And I was looking for the opposite of that, a way to slow down and, all of that. So I was very interested in the physical, the stretching, that part of yoga. But what I found that I really liked about it was the breathing, not so much the meditation. I'm still struggling with that, but I found the breath work extremely helpful. And my motivation for doing this is very selfish. I would like to bring as many aspects of yoga to the gym as I can. As a matter of fact, Ginger has taught at our gym and at least one of her the teachers from her studio. But the problem that I found is people who do CrossFit don't want to take an hour or an hour and a half to do yoga. So I am hoping that I can learn some essential parts to offer when we have 5 minutes or 10 minutes or, an hour on the weekend, so that at the end of class, hey, let's sit down, breathe, or, still, be calm, stretch, whatever we can do. And my question is very similar to Elizabeth's, but more specifically, no matter how well we plan, we will inevitably miss something. Are there opportunities to make up missed classes?
So the policy for missed classes is something that we're still constructing. Because we require 100% attendance, there will have to be some makeup sessions that might just be one-on-one in person if need be, or perhaps there's enough people where we have a whole additional weekend where we can pull that in and make that less financially straining on whoever misses. But yeah, you're right. Life does happen.
Unfortunately.
That's how it goes. So we're still working on finishing up that policy to make sure that there is a plan B for anyone who has to miss any part of the in-person part.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Okay, I'll go. I guess I'll jump in. So I'm Michelle, and I currently am a teacher with Yoga You and Me, and I've known Ginger for a while, and I've been with her a little over a year. And I've been in the fitness industry for about 30 years. And like Elizabeth, did the boot camp stuff, taught the step classes, the high impact, all of that in my 20s. And I think as I've gotten older, I found yoga as something like, and again, just to piggyback off what Elizabeth said and some of the others and Nancy, that I wanted something more that carried over into the rest of my life. And when I found yoga, it wasn't just like they've said always about the poses. There was so much more going on inside with me, mentally, spiritually, areas that I think I had neglected or just never paid attention to like I needed. Everything, and from a gym aspect, you're thinking the physical. And I definitely needed to go deeper and within, and just life hits us. We go through a lot of struggles. I've found a lot of folks drawn to yoga have had a lot of trauma and things in their life and have found it to be almost therapeutic. And that to me is what I've loved about it. Having said that, I am also a school teacher. So my schedule has always been really tough to allow me to break away and really do an intensive training. I've done different yoga certifications along the way, but have been just dying and waiting for an opportunity like this. And it's in the summer. So I'm like, yay, because I'm off and I can really devote my time. And I did not want to do an all online training. I'm thankful for that, but I see the value in being, face to face, hands on. I'm very that way. So I have just been beyond excited about this opportunity and looking forward to learning things that I know I have missed in other trainings. And so I'm just thrilled to be able to have the opportunity and learn and experience the whole yoga kind of just philosophy mindset in just a whole new way, and just to kind of refresh everything as well that I've learned. So that's me. And as far as questions, I can't think of one at the moment right now. I'm sure I will as I process everything. But I'm just want to say thank you for doing this for us. Like I said, I haven't been able to travel to go anywhere for an extensive time, and I'm just very thankful and grateful for you doing this for us. So I really appreciate you for being here and offering this to us here in Spartanburg. So that's me.
Well, thank you for sharing your background and your experience with yoga and your interest in taking this training, as well as for Ginger for creating Yoga You and Me. I don't know if you realize how much you impact the people in your community. It's an honor to come to you and offer what I have to offer to help you do what you're doing. So I guess that's all, unless new questions have emerged.
Jan made me think of, I don't know why this just popped in my mind, but is there, did I read that there was going to be an online offering, or you guys strictly doing?
The in-person part will be in person. The online portion for the non-contact hours will not just be like random videos here and there that you watch and hopefully glean something from. Instead, as soon as you sign up, you'll have access to a course that I've put together called the Foundations of Anatomy, of Yoga Anatomy, where it's just bite-sized sessions. There's 28 of them, and each one builds off the one before it. There'll be quizzes and an exam at the end. So
Excellent.
like, it'll be fun, but like you'll have expected to learn something.
Yeah.
You have to get at least a 70% on the exam in order to like get that part of your training. And you can take the exam as many times as you need. But you know, the online portion has been something I've been working on for the last 2 years. And there will also be an introduction to all of the asanas. So there's it'll be an introduction to 84 postures plus their variation. So it's actually more like 100 and some postures with, you know, not only a demonstration of them, like a photograph of me doing them from different angles, but a video of like how to get into it safely, how to get out of it, what the benefits are, what the issues are with each posture. Like there's no such thing as one posture that's perfect for everyone. Rather, you know, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and it's good to know that. And the philosophy portion is also a part of the online offering. So if you want to understand yoga philosophy, it's almost always misrepresented by like another school of thought that is trying to benefit from the surge in popularity in yoga, but only using yoga as this thin veneer where they're selling you like their school of thought. Yes, you can combine yoga with any other school of thought or any other discipline, that's fine. But yoga can be a standalone philosophy. And that's how I'll present it. So I'm not going to threaten your belief system or anyone else's, but rather just present to you the discipline and encourage you to practice it so that you can decide whether or not you want to teach it. And then present it as clearly to your students as you choose.
And I had a question that might be for Ginger, but I know like Nancy, Elizabeth, some of people that might be doing it, and myself, who I like to be with other people when I'm learning too, that maybe, Ginger, if there's times when we're having the online training, if there aren't classes going on at the studio at the time, that if it'd be a possibility, I don't know if we would be able to come together and maybe do some of the online training, you know, in the studio where we're kind of together and watching it together. I know that is something I'd like to be able to do if there's others that would be available to do it at the same time. So I'm hoping we can do that. That was just something that popped in my head. So maybe Ginger, you can respond to that.
That's a great idea. I just wanted to also iterate that the non-contact hour programs, they're all pre-recorded. So you can like watch them whenever you want, like, you know, however you want. But this would be an example of however you might want as a group. So good question.
Excuse my kids, my husband talking in the background, but definitely after everyone sign up, I will have an option of we can have a group together so that we can share the things we learned, ask questions in the group, and then create a kind of support system. I can probably pull Michael in there to answer questions. I'm not like making any promises for him, but I will definitely be in there, our little study group. Yeah. And in person, definitely when there's no classes in the studio, you can go there now. Any of you take a yoga class yourself, practice, definitely.
I had a question about the breakdown of the hours of all the 200 hours. What's the breakdown of like just us kind of doing class lessons with all the students versus like instruction of us kind of practicing teaching it in the classes?
Well, that's going to be, see how this is a teacher training, and we're not teaching you necessarily how to do yoga here.
Okay.
Rather, we're like teaching you how to teach it.
Mhm.
So the way that we'll present each of the 3 sequences is first of all, like the whole thing. So you just get to experience what it's like from start to finish. And then we'll break down each part of the sequence and have you just concentrate on that part. First, I'll present it to you with the information that you're going to teach this in a few minutes, and you'll do it then. And then I'll put you into usually groups of 2, and basically you're going to be teaching another person that aspect of the sequence. So it'll be like bite-sized chunks. And then you will be their recipient and you receive the teaching from them, so you support them. Then we'll have a clarification session like, hey, what came up for you? What did you learn? And have some questions and answers on that, maybe even some more demonstration. And then you'll teach it again to a different partner, or maybe even to 2 people. So that way you get more comfortable with each component of the sequence. And by the end of the 3rd weekend on that sequence, you will be competent as well as confident to teach the whole sequence and every aspect of it. So
Okay.
that's like the major design of our in-person time.
Okay.
Well, if there are more questions, feel free to email them to Ginger, and we'll be happy to answer them as they arise. Oh, Jan, you're muted. It looks like you're talking. Can you unmute?
Yay. I know that there are 6 of us present here. Is there a minimum number of people that you'll have to have in order to do the class? When will you know if 100% if you're going to do it?
Well, I mean, you never know. There could be a hurricane or an earthquake or an asteroid. But as far as we know, we're definitely moving forward with it. But maybe Ginger and I will work out contingency plans this week, so that way everyone knows what to expect. If there's like not enough signups, what we'll do in that case.
I mean, I'm ready to go. You can't, it's got to happen now.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all for taking this wonderful time, spend time together, asking questions, get to know each other. I know more questions will come up once you start to read my page, the website page, and you are welcome to bring to my attention, especially if the question that we did not cover in there, I can make a Q&A page so that the future people can see that as well. So grateful for you to show up today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you, Michael, for joining us. We're so grateful of your teaching and helping.
Happy to share.
Thank you both. Thank you both for,
Thank you.
it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Very
Ginger,
grateful.
are you
Thank
gonna-
you.
I do. Ginger, are you going to send us a link to the webpage?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
And we'll do a follow-up email to y'all. Mhm.
Good.
Yay. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Namaste.
you.
Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, Michelle.
Oh,
Bye.
did I not click? I'm trying to click on Ginger. Hold on. Okay, I'll figure this out in 1 second. Okay, hang on.
Or I'll end the meeting.
Can you end it? Because I'm used to Google Meets and Zoom is kind of new for me. So you shut me off.
Okay. Bye.
Ginger.